Hello, I'm Kurt Dudley, and I'm looking forward to spending the next few minutes with you and with the director of JMU Track and Field and Cross Country, Coach Delethea Quarles, who affectionately is known as Coach D, as not only does she hold that title, but this summer, wow, we're excited about this, she's holding the title of Assistant Coach for the USA, Team USA, for the upcoming Paris Olympics. Coach, thank you first of all for joining us today in a time I know is extremely busy for you, but let's jump right in. And when you learned that this was going to be a post that you would have this summer, take us back to that moment, please.
Oh man, one, to read it because I got it via email, and it's really exciting. For the most part, unbelievable to get selected, just from the standpoint that there's many coaches in this country, but to get selected for this appointment is really honoring. It's surreal, but very exciting. So you just kind of keep reading the email over and over to make sure you're reading that what you're reading is true. So just very grateful, very humbling, just because it's a very unique place and appointment. And so I just kept reading the email over, and then some people in the staff on the national office had congratulated me, and then that's when I for sure knew it was real.
Take us through a little bit about the selection process. I mean, how did you get involved, and how did you become a candidate for this particular post?
Well, in the past, like in the early part of my coaching, so I've now going on 33 years of coaching. As you get selected for maybe like some of the junior teams, you start learning the international competition because it is different than our domestic meets. Mm-hmm. So I've done quite a few junior teams. I was the head coach for junior world team in Brazil back then. So I kind of matriculated through Team USA's process to kind of go through your training grounds. And I will say what paralleled was the success I had in coaching in the universities that I was at, that also attract attention to your work, and then you have to apply, and then later on they start grading everybody on the staff, and so the national office, the athletes themselves grade you, and then you have to have a passing grade to be invited to apply again. And so I've done several world championships. The one that sticks out most to me is 2015. I was the head coach for the world championships there, and all of them are very special to be in the presence of, our best Team USA. Those athletes are amazing people, amazing athletes, and so I applied really not even sure that I would get selected at all. Just kind of like, hey, well, I wasn't sure until someone said, hey, well, you really need to do this again. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I will. And so I guess I applied without really anticipating that I would get selected. And then there's other teams to make as well. So I said, well, I could get selected, but I wasn't really thinking I'd get selected for the Olympic staff.
Now, I understand that coaching was not on your I want to be when I grow up list initially. So what aspirations did you have as a youth, and what turned the table that you ended up in this profession?
I would have to say in my career I've learned to condense a lot of information being in the positions that I've been in, but I will say, without making it so long, growing up in rural Covington, Virginia, my only ambition was to get out of my hometown.
Okay.
And then I grew up in a conservative Christian home, so I was ready to get out to church as well. And so my ambitions was to leave. I had 3 sisters and 1 brother that were all scholar athletes, and they were my example to having any sort of vision about how I was going to leave. And so I did go to college, and I ran in high school. I played basketball in high school, and those attracted scholarship offers for me to go to college. Now, I didn't set out to be a coach. I mean, my ambition was to be a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
I had it all set in my head that I would do some sort of degree that allowed me some experience in that area, that I would go back and get my master's, and then get married, have some kids and a family, and then go back and get my doctorate degree. And I wanted to, I had this ambition to be in the counseling field, realizing that you needed that level of degree to do counseling. So that was my ambition. When I finally transferred to Liberty as a collegiate athlete, there was just coaches and mentors that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. I was told all the time that I was a leader, and then I found out around my 5th year of college that my teammates looked to me as a coach more than they did a teammate. And then my coach kept me on right after that and kept making provisions to keep me on staff, and that's how I got into coaching. Wasn't my ambition. I fought it at first, my first couple of years, thinking that I didn't like it, but I still had competing in my blood. And then after I embraced it, I realized that's what I was called to do.
Gotcha. Very good. Well, let me also, for the record, Covington has a population about 1/4 the enrollment at James Madison University. So it definitely is a small town. And to think about that, Coach, to go from small town Covington to Paris, France, and to be on the world stage, what a contrast that has to be. And I mean, when you left thinking, I want to get out of Covington, all due respect to Covington, and now going to Paris, wow. Yeah, it's every country that I've been to with Team USA or just competing with internationally with some of the athletes that have qualified for some of those meets. Every time I cross the water, it really brings tears to my eyes to know where I came from, because I say to myself, wow, you're a long way from home. Especially like even going to Beijing, China, which is on the other side of the world, going to Doha, Qatar, the other side of the world. I've never been to the Middle East. It's a long ways from home, but it's been an amazing journey. And of course, what makes this very special for me is that I'm back in my home state, where I grew up. Times that I've been away, that I've been on international teams that certainly have been celebrated, and it's been special, but this has been extra special to be the Olympic Games for Team USA in my home and back home, to be around people that know me, that grew up with me before I ever had success. Makes it very, very special because they knew me when. So it's more than an honor. It leaves me speechless, very humble to know that I've been chosen to do this. Being back in Virginia and at JMU has been such an amazing thing for me, because again, it was something I could have never planned for or thought about doing myself. So someone is driving this thing that's doing it way better than me, and I'm just especially grateful. I'm curious, when you coach at the collegiate level, you've coached at your alma mater, Liberty, many years at South Carolina, elite athletes there obviously as well. What is the difference, though, similarities and differences between coaching what I'll call the student athlete on the collegiate ranks and now the elite athletes on the world, if not universal scale?
The difference is, I feel like, sports it's kind of like the academic world. It's like, it's grades. It's first grade through 10th grade through high school. It's grades, and, the difference is the international scale and level and Olympics and our best for Team USA. They have matriculated through some grades, and most of the time you don't skip grades. You go through your process, and the process is very important to your development. So the collegiate system, our NCAA system, actually helps the athlete develop their physical abilities, their physical strength, while getting their degree, that they are being developed, hopefully, as people. And our sport, I feel, is, I feel like it's the best training for what we need in our future. Track athletes they have much more responsibility, because as much as it's a team sport, they have individual responsibilities about getting, the time they get to the track, the time that they warm up, the time that they do certain things to prepare for their race or event. And so they all congregate as a team, but they have their individual responsibilities that, their coach give them instructions to do, and they get trained to do that, and they do that very well. I feel like they're individually some of the most responsible young people that leave a collegiate system. They don't have to rely on the whole team to produce a score. They don't rely on the whole team to run their race in their lane, or to throw their throw, or to come down the runway. So we collectively do all this together, but it's a lot of individual responsibility that I feel the track athlete is best prepared for the world that's out there after they leave as a collegiate athlete. I feel like it grows our young people the best. It has grown me the best to develop as a person on and off the track. And so it's a lot of parallels about preparation in this sport that I think helps an athlete in the classroom and then in our profession or wherever they choose to go to.
It's interesting, you talk about parallels. Going back earlier, you were talking about your thoughts growing up and getting your doctorate eventually. Well, it's sort of like you got a doctorate in coaching, and you're using your counseling and your psychology degree that you got at Liberty in many regards with this. So kudos to you to be able to transfer all of those skills to this particular level. What will the upcoming weeks look like as you get ready? The Olympics begin in late July, and I can only imagine what it will be like when that parade of countries opens up those ceremonies.
Well, I'm a little bit divided mentally. We just closed out our season here at JMU, so finishing up the things from the season, and then starting all the preparation for the cross-country season and all the logistics for travel, the schedule, and then also for the track season. So all those things, this is the time of the year those things should be happening, and that I am working on. So, and then in the middle or later in the evening, I'm doing things for Team USA. We also have logistical things to handle. We have Zoom calls as a staff, and also watching the athletes on their respectful track meets right now to kind of keep up on who's the who and who's doing what, and also knowing everybody's names and actually what's going on, because very quickly when we do get together, everything accelerates to knowing the athletes very fast and developing the relationship with them if you don't have it already. So these are not people you see every day. And so it's a lot of preparation, and in the far past we've done training camps and have spent some weeks of time before the actual games, and so that has been cut down a lot, and so everything goes really fast. So I've been a little divided, just to of course taking my responsibilities here, and then and handle the things that we are just preparing. We'll have the Olympic trials, which is the meet that the athletes actually make their qualifications for, unless they've had a bye from the previous year or ranking, but they are required to have a certain time or distance and place in the top 3 of their event to make the actual team. It is probably one of the most competitive meets that these athletes compete in all year, because America has the best athletes in the country, So they are competing against all their teammates of Team USA to actually make the team. And so it's very, very competitive. It's a lot of athletes, and it's just an amazing process. And then to think that after that selection, that they would go on to do that with the world. So it's, I think track is probably one of the most competitive sports that's out there, because they have to beat a lot of people to even make the team, and then they have to beat a lot of people in the world to get on the podium. So
right. Let's change the focus just a moment here to a little more centric to James Madison University. It was announced earlier this spring that in the third year as a member of the Sun Belt Conference, James Madison here at Centerra Park, where we're conducting this interview today, will be the site of the 2025 Outdoor Track and Field Championships for the Sun Belt. How excited are you, your staff, and quite frankly the Dukes to be competing here next April or next spring, for the title of the Sun Belt?
Yes, we're excited about the 2025 Sun Belt Conference Championship being hosted here. I'm excited. I've been in touch with some alumni groups. We want everybody to come back home to us hosting. It's really a special time. Some of the alumni often look for reasons to come back, and we feel that this is a great reason to come back. And we're excited about it, and our administration is amazing to actually agree to host this. We have the best event coordinators, I feel, in the country of all the places that I've been, that does an excellent job. And I know they'll partner well with the Sun Belt office and everything that needs to happen for this to be a great experience for the student athletes. So we're excited about it. We want all of Duke Nations to come out and see an amazing track meet and a conference that is very, very competitive. But we have our buttons pushed on what level of excellence we need to achieve as a team, and we want everybody to come out to see that. But we're super excited about it.
Well, Coach Quarles, again, congratulations on representing not only James Madison University, but the United States of America in the upcoming Paris Olympic Games. Bring us back some gold to add to the goal at James Madison, as well as to the goal of the red, white, and blue of the United States. So thank you very much, and all the best in the weeks ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much.